Alright guys, you already know Mr. Extra here from Team Extra. Look at these binders, man. Dueling Guard is killing it. Go check them out. Promo code is Team Extra, all caps at duelingguard.com. Let them know Team Extra sent you. Hey, it's Mr. Extra from Team Extra. Welcome back to the channel. We got a couple of members from the squad who are also going to be involved in this one. Announce yourself, guys. Announce yourself.
How y'all doing? How you doing? You know, hi Kage here. How y'all doing?
Yeah. Who else we got?
AY Extra from Team Extra. What's
There you go. There you go. Love to fucking see it here. Alright guys, so we're going to do a Banlist prediction video. And we have 15 cards on the chopping block, as always, that we're going to go over, discuss, do pros, cons for, all the good stuff. You know, stuff you guys live for, right? So, without, further ado, we're just going to get straight into it. Alright, so, first things first. We have the wanted poster. So, we sat down, we talked about this, planned it out in advance and everything, and everyone kind of agrees the wanted poster needs to be limited. Now, does anyone want to put their opinion in before I go into detailed explanation, or would someone like to explain it as well?
No, I'll let you explain it.
Alright, so we think that the wanted poster needs to be limited to 1 because wanted poster at 3 is actually pretty disgusting in my opinion, and with it being a 3 for an engine that literally just makes the tier 0 deck and even more of a tier 0 deck when it already has plenty of 1-up searches to get into your popular and to get your full board down. I think limiting wanted to 1 is good and fair because you can still access wanted even if it's at 1. It just forces players to play 3 Black Witch Deep Bellstar too. So I think it's a pretty solid hit. It being at 1 just means a little harder to see it, but at the same time, it is it's pretty disgusting on its own, and the deck could still do all the things it does with it being at 1. Alright, let's go to the next thing. So, Flamberge. Flamberge, I'm going to talk about this real quick, and then I'll put where it needs to go. Flamberge is basically a Black Dragon, but a lot more unfair. Flamberge carries Fire King Snake Eyes and carries Pure Snake Eyes very far, and nothing is as strong as it gets 2 free bodies for free from the graveyard after you used the 2 bodies to search into Flamberge and then create Recursion and then crystallizing cards in the back row. What are your all's opinions?
I agree.
What you got for me, Jackie? What you got?
You was talking about Flamberge? Flamberge is crazy. Usually when you see it come out on the first turn, they're going to keep going off with everything else, and then just keep going off even when you come back to your turn.
Yeah.
It has a lot of recursions, even just for having 1 copy in your deck.
Yeah, plus, yeah, it comes out on their turn, and it comes out during your turn. It's disgusting. I would love to see this card banned. Yeah, it would hit Snake Eye, Fire King a bit. It would definitely slow it down a bit, but I mean, with all the extension that deck already has, and all the crackback it already does, I feel like Flamberge is one of the main reasons why the deck is actually tier 0, because it creates recursion on your turn and your opponent's turn at the same time. And nothing feels worse than they do their whole combo, they put Flamberge in grave, and then lo and behold, during your turn, your actual turn, they put Flamberge back out, they special summon the other ones back out, and then they get 2 free searches during your turn because they put out that Ash and they put out the popular that they just used the previous turn. Pretty disgusting.
Even if their opponent is going first.
Yeah.
And they're able to get they're able to get that card out. They're able to bounce a problem card that they don't like to the spell and trap zone.
Yeah, it's pretty good. It's like one of the newer type of, I want to say, removals that they can do with like in Yu-Gi-Oh. It's actually the newest type of removal because this is the first deck I've actually seen where it says move cards into the back row. All right, here comes a hot take. Boys.
Well, hold on. Before we do continue, the one thing I do want to add on there is that usually you see them do with their Snake Eye plays is that they'll throw IP Masquerena in their back row.
Yeah.
And then on your turn, they'll go draw phase and bring it out to the monster zone. And then from there, main phase, see what kind of deck you're playing based on your first couple cards in your hand, and they will link summon accordingly.
Yeah, so they get just a free IP off rip with it too. It's pretty gross.
Oh yeah.
All right, next hot take. Artifact Scythe. I'm gonna go ahead and place where we think it's gonna go, and then we're gonna talk about it. I think Artifact Scythe can not only come off the ban list, I think this card can come to 2. My personal reason being is there's a lot of decks that can still play under Artifact Scythe. Birds, Labyrinth, a couple other decks. Locks the what Artifact Scythe usually does is it locks the opponent or locks both players out. I think it might be just opponent, I don't remember, but regardless, it locks someone out of the extra deck for the rest of the turn. I want to say it's the opponent. It's been a while. I haven't played the card in about 2 years. But you have to get it on field. You can set it and pop it to do it that way, but Scythe is pretty fair in this format, mainly because you have a chance to stop it. It goes to graveyard. If you pop it on field, it'll go to graveyard and do effect from grave to special. You can just bell that or crow that, which seems fine. Or if you go the other route and run Artifact Sanctum, you can ash it, and then guess what? There it is. I think it'd be a little bit more fair to stipulate and potentially help deal with the tier 0 format that we're setting in. Any opinions?
I would have to say I would have to agree with you on that one.
Fair. All right. The next hot take. I like this one. This is a good one. This is a personal preference, but that's just me. That's just me. Chaos Space got limited to 1 a ban list or 2 ago. It was a ban list ago, right? Or was it 2?
One of them.
Okay. So Chaos Space I feel like can come back to 2 because Dragons is one not doing a whole lot, and Chaos Space and Magma together, both being hit to 1 at the same time, absolutely trashed that deck. It killed the consistency, but I mean the deck's still out there decking, but at the same time, I think it can come back to 2. I mean, only one deck's going to play it until, Lightsworns for Legacy Destruction, which we'll talk about that in a later video. There will be a video for Lightsworn, trust me, especially if someone's going to play it. But I think it's pretty fair, and it could come back to 2, mainly because there's not a whole lot of light and dark decks doing a whole lot right now that would use this outside of Dragons. All right, so next on our list we have Bonfire. I think Bonfire is disgusting. I personally think this card should be limited to 1, mainly due to the fact that Bonfire is one of those free searches for Fire King that just makes the deck pop off. So I'll explain for anyone who doesn't really play so much in this format. So wanted long handling gets you into Popular. Popular's full combo for the Fire King Snake Eye deck. Bonfire does the exact same thing. So even if they have one at 1 and Bonfire at 3, the consistency of the deck does not change, so to speak. There's a couple other decks playing Bonfire right now, but nothing. They're not doing the same type of craziness that the tier 0 deck that is kind of decimating the format is currently already doing. So 1 should be fine. Granted, we know Konami's not going to listen to that because Bonfire is still relatively new and they want to make their Konami money, so to speak. Just a very opinionated choice. Any pros and cons, boys?
No, I can agree with that.
All right.
Yeah.
Let's go. Let's go to the next one. Rollback. This card should be banned. If anyone has ever played against Rollback before, you probably played against Labyrinth. Labyrinth is the deck that plays it the most. I would say Goblins, but Goblins doesn't have a super high representation right now to want to abuse this card. So, Rollback copies a trap card from your opponent's graveyard when it's on the field. When it's in the graveyard, it copies a trap card from your graveyard. A lot of people don't think that that's that big of a deal, but I will explain the biggest copy that this card can do and how effective it actually is. So imagine you have an evenly matched engrave. You have Rollback engrave. And then you evenly match your opponent with Rollback in graveyard. Your opponent loses their entire field. They don't get to keep anything because you're doing it from graveyard, so you have nothing on field when you do it. That right there is a free banish board wipe. And for anyone who's playing competitive Yu-Gi-Oh! In current format, You can't tell me that's not disgusting. You got to pay half your life, but who cares? Right now, life points do not matter in the game. The matter of the game is resource management. Like 100% resource management. But that's just my personal opinion. I feel like everyone else kind of feels the same way about that too.
Definitely feel that way.
Yeah. All right. So High Avatar Fire King Kieran. This card could be banned too. Now I wouldn't mind this card staying at 1, but I feel like it should be banned mainly because this card creates a whole lot of situations where you can go full Snake Eye Fire King combo on your opponent's turn just because you activated this card in hand. The hand effect, in my opinion, is a lot stronger than the graveyard effect. Granted, the graveyard effect lets you do non-target destruction, which is also still pretty good. But in my opinion, this card either could go to 1 or could be banned. Either or, Either or. It can go either way. It all very depends on it. Granted, a lot of Fire King Snake Eye decks I've seen are either not playing it anymore or they're playing it at 1. I think the card could definitely get clipped, so to speak, if we're trying to balance out the format a little bit. But Flameburge will definitely balance out a lot of stuff. So, I believe we have 2 more cards to talk about for banned, and then we'll go to the limited, so I'll just go ahead and pull the other banned cards out. So, Sanctifier. This card can be banned. I will explain that too. Anyone else has any questions, feel free to ask. Also, like, comment in the video. You can leave a comment down if you don't like our opinions on this. And then just explain why. We love to have feedback over here at the Team Extra channel. So Sanctifier is a very abusable card, primarily being played by Branded. A couple decks play a Branded engine just to put this out. Sanctifier sets up Puppet Lock, and for example, if you ban Puppet, they'll just use a different card. So we're gonna compare Sanctifier to Halki Fibrex for a second. So what Halki Fibrex did is you would link into it, and it would just special summon, if I recall, a tuner from your deck that was a certain level or less. Now Sanctifier, even if you ban Puppet, they'll just use Ido, they'll use Raw Disciple. There's a bunch of janky cards you could use that applies a very similar effect to the Puppet. Right? So I feel like this card needs to be clipped, or, eliminating it won't do anything. I actually think it should get banned personally just because it does a whole lot. It sets up unhealthy game state. Granted, Konami at the end of the day doesn't usually care about unhealthy game state as long as they're getting paid at the end of the day. But that's just some thinking from a business standpoint. What are y'all's opinions?
Konami game state, crazy.
Right. It's almost like they don't know what the fan base wants half the time. I completely agree. Let's go to the last ban card, and this is going to be the top. Shifter. This card has been needing to go for years. Because if you want to create an unhealthy game state, most decks don't play from Banish Pile. They haven't in a long time. There's been a handful of decks like Hashtira, for example, that did. How does it feel, for anyone watching this video, how does it feel to go, standby, your opponent changed Shifter, and you're not playing Birds or Cash or Grand Mashu?
Even worse when they just shotgun it in draw phase.
Yeah, exactly. But my point is, this one hand trap needs to go. It needs to die finally, because there's decks that literally win games solely off opening Shifter, and the decks aren't even good. They open Shifter. They just open it, and they win because they open it. But I ain't going to cover too much more about Shifter because most people have a general hatred for it too. So let's go ahead and go to our, let's go ahead and finish up our limited list. Summon Limit could definitely go to 1. I'm only saying Summon Limit to 1 mainly because at any time while your opponent's comboing, you can just flip this up and it stops their turn. Fire King Snake Eyes hates this card. Voiceless loves this card. I'm kind of on the fence about it myself personally. It just depends on what I'm playing. But it's a really, really strong floodgate. Granted, Konami's already hit Goes and Match to 1 and Rivalry to 1, and there can only be 1 to 1. Summon Limit, yeah, Summon Limit can be clipped to 1 in my opinion. Would have anti-spell on here, but anti-spell is very fair in my opinion because it also affects you just like Summon Limit does, and it also basically turns off your access to your own spells, which Summon Limit doesn't do. Some Unlimited just says you get 2 bodies and you're done. I don't really have too much else to elaborate on, like Some Unlimited itself. Alright, so this next one is going to be a preemptive hit for the next format, so Legacy Destruction format. We're going to go ahead and talk about Heatwave. So Heatwave hasn't seen played in a long time. It's usually played in stun decks. The reason being is Tenpai Dragons are coming out in Legacy Destruction, and nothing feels worse than they go first, they Heatwave pass. Neither player can normal summon or special summon effect monsters for the turn until it goes back to the basically it goes back to your turn again if you're the person using the Heatwave turn 1. So, very unhealthy game state, very unfair card in my opinion. It kind of makes people just set cards and pass, set on their hand traps and stuff. Probably not going to happen, but would love to see this card limited, because if not, this next meta is going to be interesting, dealing with having to prepare against Heatwave when it hasn't been relevant since how long, Jackson? How old's Heatwave?
Oh, it's old. It's a great card still.
Isn't Heatwave like, I want to say it's like very early, like GX era or something, right?
GX or Synchro is at least one of the
It's
two.
very, very early into the game. Like when it came out, I guarantee outside of stun decks, it just got overlooked entirely. Alright, cool. Brings us to our last thing for limited, which is going to be pre-prep. I think pre-prep should be limited because Voiceless Voice is currently running this at 3. And they're also playing, because they have pre-prep and then they got regular prep. I don't know why a deck needs 6 copies to do the same kind of search, in my opinion, when they already have searches in-house for it too. So I feel like that needs to be limited at least a little bit, because Voiceless has been abusing it. And let's not forget that Drytron just got some announced support, which is going to make the deck really crazy. I don't have too much to say about that. Plus, the card is a literal, it is not once per turn either. Well, I think pre-prep might be once per turn, but Preparation of Rights is not. I think that's the way to do it, but either or, pre-prep sounds like a good hit. Pre-prep gets 2 cards, Preparation of Rights, if I remember correctly, it only gives you 1. So let's go through the last bit of stuff, and then we'll be done, guys. So, real hot take. Cloud Bike can come to 2. I can definitely, and I would put this as like the thing I really want to come to 2. Call By has been a 1-up for years, or as far as I can remember. I feel like Call By 2 will fix the format a little bit when it comes to like Tier 0 Fire King Snake Eyes, and when it also comes to the amount of hand traps that gets played in every format. Call By is not once per turn, and Call By definitely mitigates hand the graveyard effects. Really good card, very solid. A lot of people don't like this card being at more than a 1-up because, I don't know, they think that it'll turn off an entire turn with it. But I mean, hey, Called By stops that shifter that's up top, guys. Let's not forget that. Very good, solid card. Next. The thing's thinking. Gamma. Gamma got limited to 1 last Banlist. This card can definitely come back to 2. It'll probably actually see a little bit of play. I 100% think that this card can come back to 2. I think it can come back to 3, honestly. But I feel like Gamma only got hit to 1 because too many people were getting upset that Gamma is a soft if they negate it. Even though you can ash it, which does nothing. And the fact that Gamma was stopping Shifter. I think that was the main reason why they banned Gamma, is so they can make their money on the Kashtira decks at the time. What are y'all's opinions?
For which one, Gamma? Yes, honestly.
Okay.
When they limited Gamma, it was like, why even still run it? Now it's just a 2-part.
It hurt a lot.
It's a 50-50. If you give the driver, then it's worse.
It hurt a whole lot.
I believe you should leave it where it's at. This is my opinion.
Yeah, fair enough, fair enough. This is a wish list at the end of the day for a little bit. Shavara, this is the last thing on the chopping block. Shavara could come back to 2 and make Unchained more prevalent. They can actually like do their usual Unchained stuff. And then, I mean, Labyrinth is the only other deck that I've seen like play Shavara. And then there's random Yubel Unchained decks, which honestly were pretty spicy to go against. But Shavara just helps solidify the Unchained lines, and it helps them get into their bigger boards and their better interactions. I think this card can come back because with it getting hit to 1, they're still kind of able to do the things they want to do. Getting hit to 2 just means the deck's more resilient, and it'll kind of shake up the format a little bit, or at least make Unchained a little bit more relevant. But besides the point, Do you guys have anything else you want to tell our audience before we're done?
Thank you for watching.
Fantastic.
Subscribe and like.
Well, aside from that, we will be out at Louisville, and if you see us, then you see us. Come say hi, whatever. I'm also doing a raffle. Not even a raffle. So, I'll explain this. I haven't even said anything about this to anyone on the team either, so this is news for everyone. So, I have one more field center. That is a metal field center. It is the Rescue SD Bellstar one. I have one more that I found in one of my bulk boxes. So for anyone who watches this far into the video, and I'm going to end up making a short about this, if you find me at Louisville Regional, I look very specific. I stand out very easily. Look for the hat, worst case. Look for the Team Extra shirt that has the big logo on the back and everything. If you find me and you can tell me the name of the monster that we use as the mascot for Team Extra, I will give you the field center. And I'm not going to say it in the video. It just means that you're a dedicated fan. So let's see who really wants this gold-plated field center. But
Good luck, everyone.
that's all I got. That's all we got. We are done here, and thanks for watching.